What is going on, wrestling fans? It's I, Steve Fall. Welcome to 10 Count Media. On today's edition, I'm talking to the GOAT of professional wrestling referees. It's Earl Hebner. Earl, how are you doing today?
Hey, man, I'm doing great, and it's great to be back with you again.
It's great to see you on the whole reffin' show, as I dubbed it in my brain. But today, we're talking about a moment that almost changed professional wrestling forever, and it actually kind of did. When Stone Cold Steve Austin broke his neck at the 1997 SummerSlam. Now, last week we talked about the double referee, greatest storyline of all time. This storyline with Austin breaking his neck, it's an accident. And in your career, what is the worst wrestling injury that you have seen face to face? Because we have seen so many injuries over the years, but for you personally, while being in the ring, what was the worst one?
You know, the worst thing, truthfully, Steve, is a broken neck. That's horrible. And to be involved in it and see it, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Now, they've broken arms and this and that and the other, or legs, and you can overcome that in a period of time. But when you break your neck, it's a serious situation, and you don't know whether you're going to be okay, you're going to be fine, or you're going to be back, or what. You never know.
Yeah, because like Mankind being tossed off a Hell in a Cell, we saw him get up.
Right.
This moment of Austin being dropped on his head, you see him being held up. You see his legs limp. It's a scary thought because heading into SummerSlam 1997, Stone Cold is red hot. Now, you have been involved with the Hulk Hogan, Hulkamania era. And now we've had some dips and dives with Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels and Yokozuna, but now we're in the Stone Cold business. In 1997, since you have such a keen eye for talent, when you saw Stone Cold Steve Austin as the ringmaster with green tights and $1 Million Man was his manager, and now where he's wearing black trunks and he's swearing and he's saying offensive things, what do you think? Did you think that we were actually going to put all of our chips on Austin? Because they did, and it worked out. But what were you thinking seeing all this play out in front of your eyes? Like, did you think Austin was going to be the next one?
Well, at the beginning, it wasn't. It was a gamble.
Mm-hmm.
But as time went on, they changed it, name around and everything. It worked perfect, you know.
Yeah.
But as the what was he?
The ringmaster.
Ringmaster. The ringmaster never registered to anybody.
No.
You know, it was just something that they pulled up out of the straw and put it on him, but that never worked. It was dull at the beginning, and it was dull at the end, and that's why they did a lot of changing around to make him who he is.
Worked out,
Yeah.
But like traditionally in the North, when you have someone swearing and, he didn't do the full middle fingers yet, but he was acting like a heel. He was acting like a bad guy. And yet the fans all got behind him after he fought Bret Hart in a bloody battle at WrestleMania 13 in Chicago. For you, again, you've been in the business for, at that time, 15, 20 years. What were your thoughts on, like, wait a minute. Like, how is this working out? How is this guy who's doing all the bad guy things, he's being cheered?
Because he was himself. Whether he was a bad guy or a good guy, he played his character straight down the middle. And I think that's why people loved him. He could be a good guy. He could be a bad. He could be either one in the ring. But he played his character, and he wasn't 100% either way. And he stuck to it, and that's what made him the person he is today.
Yeah. When you see him now, he still is Stone Cold Steve Austin. You look at him and you're thinking to yourself, like, I think that guy might give me a Stone Cold Stunner at any second of any time, just looking at him. And you think about the ringmaster.
Right.
What? Like, because before this, he was in WCW, he was in ECW. Like, he already went through the other organizations, and now he's in the WWF, where we have heard, you become a star. Vince will make you a star, and you're the ringmaster. And you're like, I don't think he's going to be a star, but he became one, obviously, as time would go on. But here we are in the summer of 1997, and Owen Hart and Austin have a rivalry because, as I think everyone knows if watching this, as you don't become world champion contenders right off the bat. You got to build your way up to the top, and Austin's going through that with the Hart Foundation, so he's fighting Owen Hart. Owen Hart, always heard ribs about him. Always heard great stories. Do you have a Owen Hart rib story that you can share with us that maybe not many people know, because that man, he has caused a lot of mischief?
Owen was the biggest rubber in the business. Believe me. We were in, I'll never forget this. We were in Houston, Texas, at the Sam Houston building. Ahmed Johnson was the champion at the time. Owen went up to the music room and put Hogan's music on for him to come out.
Oh my God.
And Jack Lanza, bless his heart, he was the agent back then. They went crazy. And when I think it was Howard announcing, you're in your WWF World Champion, and Hogan's music hit the Hogan's music hit. It's something I'll never forget. But it was great. It was Owen Hart that did that.
So what was the crowd's reaction to hearing Hulk Hogan's music in 1996? Because Ahmed Johnson was the Intercontinental Champion, and this has got to be like, in the middle of Hogan being in WCW. Like, what was the reaction of, like, did people think Hogan was actually going to be there?
You know what? I think they was so confused that they didn't. It's like the twin deal. They didn't realize.
Right.
They just didn't. It didn't. Hogan had been champion for so long, and it just, when you see something for a long time, that's what you think. And probably they didn't realize that Ahmed Johnson was a champion, and when they heard hit Hogan's music, they just went, "Oh my God!"
I only can imagine Ahmed Johnson's response to this, thinking, "Oh shit, I'm the IC champion. Why is this music playing? Who's pulling this crap on me?" The fact that Owen Hart did it, that's amazing. I can only imagine Ahmed Johnson being so pissed off. He must have laughed about it later, but I can't imagine then. Nope. I can't imagine Ahmed Johnson being happy. Now, the incident in this matchup heading into it, there's a storyline. The storyline is, if Stone Cold Steve Austin does not win, he will kiss Owen Hart's ass. That's the storyline. Now, throughout the night, we have storylines. We have Ken Shamrock versus the British Bulldog. If Ken Shamrock loses, he'll eat dog food. There's weird stipulate. Anvil is supposed to shave his beard, but that match doesn't happen. And there's just layers and layers and layers of stipulations with Bret Hart, Owen Hart, British Bulldog, and Brian Pillman. But this one is, if Austin loses, he will kiss Owen Hart's ass. We are on the rise of Stone Cold Steve Austin here. Steve Austin, even if he did break his neck or anything, like in storyline, he doesn't want to be hurt kissing Owen Hart's ass, obviously, in a storyline. But when Owen Hart drops Austin on his head, you're the referee for that matchup. What are your thoughts immediately when you see this? Like, because the way Owen picks up Austin, this is not a pile driver. This is the way the Undertaker would do a tombstone. Tombstones are done on your knees. He sits on his legs. I have never seen this spot before in the WWF up until this point. Do you? You're also backstage. This is gonna be a long-winded question. When you're backstage, you're going over this matchup. Is this spot explained to you?
Not really.
No.
The most things like explained to me is like that was a move, but it was just a regular spot. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Now, like if you're going to give a nut shot or something, I know. You know what I mean?
Okay. I mean, so you don't see it.
Like a ball shot or whatever. They tell me, and somebody will draw me, or either I'll get involved in something and not see it. But that was just a normal spot. It wouldn't like it was a finish or something special.
Right.
It's just something that they probably came up with. and it didn't work out.
Yeah, it definitely did not work out. And the thing with this is, again, I've been at this point I've been watching WWF television for a decade at this point in time when '97 rolls around. So when I see this move happen, I'm looking at it and going, I've never seen this before. A sit down tombstone. And that's what it looks like to me.
Right.
And when Austin gets this done to him, his head is too low between his legs, so he drops down and hits the top of his head. So you're the referee. This is before, if I'm correct, you had an earpiece in your ear, so no one can talk to you. What are you doing to assess the situation? Like, you're looking around. Are you talking to Austin, and what is Austin saying to you?
Well, like personally me, okay. When I see a bump and it don't look right, I know something ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
I can pick it up like that, you know. And after that bump, I went over to go, Austin, you all right? Because it didn't look good. And he goes, I think I broke my neck. I said, well, don't move, stay there. Owen, if you go back and look, Owen was bitching with the crowd and shit like that. So I walk up to Owen. I said, Austin's neck's broke. I think his neck's broke. Just back up. While I'm talking to you, back up. Fall over him and let me get the 3 count. Don't pick him up. Just fall back and lay there. And if you go back and look at it, that's exactly what we done.
Wow.
But see, the thing is that I'm not bad mouthing the rest today, but they don't take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
They're not they're not on the ball. I mean, when you work with somebody, I mean, I could read Flair from Richmond, Virginia to Charlotte and know what he's doing because I work with him so much. And what these guys got to learn today is the more they work with people, look, learn, and listen. So you know what's going on. Just don't give me the finish, and that's all I need. You need spots, you need this, you need that. And, like doing TVs, I'd go to the ring and I'd spend hours there. Wow. Even if I had 2 matches, I'd spend hours in this match and that match. I want to know bell to bell. The heat spot, the comeback spot, the go home spot, everything. And that's the way I worked, and
yeah.
that's why I really truly, like you said, when no one put the pile drive on him or whatever you want to call it, it didn't look right to me, and I knew that right off the bat, And
so you made the call to, hey, Owen, just back up and he'll pin you.
Yeah.
Wow.
I said, don't. I said, Austin thinks his neck's broke. Don't pick him up. Just back up and trip over him. And let me count to 3 so we can get out of here. I said, don't pick him up. Don't touch him. But I'm doing all the shit like that. Blah, 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 blah. Back up. Austin, next broke. Yeah. To get the crowd like I'm giving him shit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'm going back up. Lay there. Count. Let me get to 3 count. Blah, 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 blah. Because his neck's broke. And that's that. If you go back and look at it, that's what he did.
Yeah. Oh, no. It's brilliant that you came up with that on the spot, too, because that could have something could have been, you could have just been like, oh, match is over. This guy's hurt. Put up the X that has how everyone knows that now. Right. But you put up an X and suddenly, oh, let's get this out of the ring because Austin's hurt. You saved the character of Stone Cold Steve Austin by coming up with a plan of he needs to win because technically if he loses, that looks bad on his character. But also, because I think Steve Austin has even said like he just needed some time, and you were buying him time, and Owen was buying time by talking to the crowd. Yeah, talking with you because Austin's trying to get his hands going, he's trying to get his feet going, because you can eventually start looking at Austin on camera, and his legs are his feet are sort of moving, his fingers, his arms are sort of moving, so he's not paralyzed. Like, but when Austin tells you that his neck might be broken, what is your first thought of like, oh my God, you said don't move, but are you thinking like, this guy can't move. And we as a company are putting everything on this man. Our company isn't doing very well. Like, is there like a chain reaction in your brain, or the first thing you think of is we need to take care of Austin and make sure that we get this pinfall done?
Well, the first thing in my mind was when he said, I think my neck broke. The next thoughts in my mind, I don't want him. I don't want him picked up. I don't want him moved. I don't want him to touch him. Just back up, because what do you know? I mean, if he picked up and slammed him, he could have been paralyzed. If he went over to hammer him on top of his neck or head, and I said, just back up, don't touch him, just lay there. And because you never know, it was so easy just to back up and get the 1, 2, 3 and get out without moving anybody. And if you look back, Owen just rolled back. Really, it's like he tripped over him. He didn't really move Austin, and I just counted 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. And it's again, the credit to Austin for being able to even move, because when Owen Hart falls back over him, Austin tries to pin him, and you can see his fingers aren't working. Like they're very like stiff and stuck together, but he kind of pushes up on top of them, which allows the pinfall to happen. Yeah, obviously it's sloppy because the man can't move, but yet you allowed Austin's character to stay on a win streak, and he technically didn't have to kiss anyone's asses. So good for him, and good for you, Earl, for making sure that didn't happen. No ass kissing here, please. So it's just amazing to hear that you are the one who says, okay, how do we fix this? And you came up with that in like 10 seconds because we needed it to get out of the ring. So match is over. Now what's going through your brain? Like, where are you mentally going? Okay. Because he stands up. You guys help him up.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
I kept telling him, just lay there, don't move. But it's Stone Cold.
Yeah. He held up the IC championship, and he's victorious. But
they knew he was hurt. They didn't know his neck was broke at the time. I mean, I gave him the deal. They knew he was hurt. So then when people started coming to the ring, I said, don't touch him. Just let him be himself. Let him do what he can do. Don't touch him.
Yeah. So you head backstage. What's the feeling of everyone? Is he immediately rushed off to an ambulance and a hospital, or is he immediately like, don't touch me, leave me alone?
No, they took him to the guy that works on
all the doctors.
Yeah. And laid him down and then went from there.
Because I can't imagine. What's crazy is this actually benefits Austin in a storyline situation, because it builds up the anticipation of the Authority saying, Austin, you can't wrestle, you're hurt. He was tag team champion. Now he's Intercontinental champion. So he has to give up both titles. He's forced to on television by Sergeant Slaughter, who is the commissioner. He's forced by Vince McMahon, the owner. And he keeps Stone Cold stunning people while he's technically just received. He just broke his neck, and now he's still doing moves in the ring on his ass. Observing this from a distance, do you think that's a good idea?
No.
But
it's just like really truly, when I had my injury for the Hulk Hogan deal, at the time you can feel something, but you don't realize how bad it is. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden you don't realize how bad it is, but if you start to get up and then you can't get up, then you know something ain't right. But you wouldn't have known that until you tried it, because it's I don't know how to explain it, but you don't realize you're hurt because you're excited.
Yes. And every time Austin came out after that for months, he would give Stone Cold stunners, even though technically he wasn't cleared to wrestle. He doesn't wrestle, I think, until Survivor Series November. So he's hurt August 3rd, 1997. August. He doesn't wrestle again until November at Survivor Series 1997, which you might be familiar with that event. And you were there, I believe, refereeing. And yeah, I think so. I'm not sure. Were you? No, you were definitely there. Though lots of stuff happened that night, but yet without Stone Cold being hurt, maybe, just maybe, we wouldn't have the trash talking, swearing Austin, because this suddenly he couldn't wrestle. The only thing he could do is talk. And he talked for like 4 months and trash talked everybody. For you as a professional wrestler, historian, do you think that if Austin wasn't hurt all these months and he actually had to keep wrestling matches, do you think he would have been as popular as he became? Or we allowed him to speak for 4 months, which created even a more in-depth character, which created the redneck rattlesnake?
I think he'd have still been up there, but the break that he got from being off for a while sort of helped him.
Yeah.
Because the old saying is, they loved him before he got hurt. Then when he got hurt, then you miss it. But if you're on that steady run, 45 days in a row and whatever it may be, you see. But when you're gone, then they're going, what the hell? I can't wait till he gets back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that I don't think it would have hurt him either way, but I think it really helped him because all the shit that he done, they missed. And when he came back, they love him. They get to see the Stone Cold again.
And, when you think of the way he landed on his neck and his arms and legs don't work for a little bit at SummerSlam 97, you think, oh, this guy will be out for a year or more. He's only out for a few months. That's what, to me, shows the resilience or his body of Stone Cold Steve Austin be able to do this. Eventually, he does need his neck surgery. But, 1999, he does get neck surgery and because of this injury. And, unfortunately, I would hear stories over the years that Stone Cold, he was upset with Owen because Owen never called Austin and checked up on him. Bret Hart tells stories about that as well. A story comes out that eventually Austin and Owen did reconcile over that injury. Do you, as wrestling, we mentioned last week, when you were hurt, when you hurt your arm and Hogan threw you over, you just took it as, well, kind of shit happens. Right. With Austin and Owen, did you notice a demeanor change between these two? Were they friends? Were they not friends? Like, what was your perspective on that?
I didn't see any heat between them. You know what I mean? I mean, it was never like you walk around with a grudge. Mm-hmm. Even if it did, it wasn't shown. You know what I mean? To me.
Okay. Yeah.
Because a lot of people, the boys can stir up more shit than it actually is. You know what I mean? Like Owen or Bulldog or whoever it was, they got their own stories, and they can make it up and say, well, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. Then the next guy goes, well, that's the shits and this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. And a mole becomes a mountain. Because the shit disturbance, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Owen and Stone Cold could have had no issue at all. Maybe a little bit of bitterness here and there, but it was pushed over. But these other guys stirred the pot.
I imagine that happens a lot when you're on the road. Oh, yeah. All you got to do is gossiping. So, we just talk to each other, and then one person's like, yeah, I don't like him. And then you hear, he hates you. He wants to kill you. I'm sorry, what? He just said he didn't like me. And now we've reached the he wants to kill me stage. Like, how did we get from here to here? So interesting you say that because, there's so many wrestling books about so many different things. And so many stories come out where you're hearing one person's perspective of a story. You're not hearing all the perspectives, being able to go, was this okay? Was this not okay? Because I'd be pissed if I was Austin. I got dropped on my head and no one said sorry. But at the same time, wrestlers, as the terminology always goes, it's not ballet. So you get hurt and sometimes you do get hurt. And Owen didn't mean to hurt Austin, obviously. It was an accident.
Right.
And, shit happens, I guess.
Hey, in this business, there's always a shit disturber. Somewhere.
I imagine. I can't imagine there isn't. If there's not, then it's something's wrong in that locker room.
Right.
Though Austin does have to become, he changes his entire physical outlook on professional wrestling, because before he was like the ringmaster, he was a technical wrestler. He can't do that shit no more because his neck is messed up. He's a punch and kick and brawler, and that benefits him as well too, because sometimes I don't want to see a leg drop toe hold into an arm bar. I just want to see you kick a man, stomp a mud hole in him, and walk it dry. And that's what Austin became after this injury. So it sucks that Austin got dropped on his head, but in reality, it did benefit him. But I highly doubt that he's happy. Just like how your injury in your arm was a great moment, I highly doubt Austin's like, well, that was great. I got dropped on my head and I almost went paralyzed. But it did benefit him.
Right.
So, all in all, though, I got to say, it's awesome always talking to you, especially about everything you've been involved with. And this week we talked about Austin getting dropped on his head, breaking his neck at SummerSlam 1997. You were there, and you are the genius behind keeping Stone Cold Steve Austin looking fresh in front of the eyes of the fans by coming up with that amazing fall over Owen Hart. Let him pin you. Let's get this out of the ring and continue on. So, thank you again for sharing. And if you want to hear more stories from Earl, what's that behind me? It's a championship belt over there, but over here, it's his book. That's right. You can buy his book.
Right.
And you got a copy too?
Yeah.
Did you buy it from yourself?
Yeah, I bought it for myself so I could get a percentage. But look, you can get my action figures, you can get anything, my shirts, my books on earlhebner.com.